Alright, hello everybody. Today we are going to talk about all of the bosses in Batman Arkham Asylum. And this game is the first game in Batman Rocksteady's Batman franchise. And there is some okay bosses. There are 5 bosses in total, and in this video we are going to through all of those bosses. So sit in and enjoy the video, and let's start right away. And in number 5th position, aka the first boss in Batman Arkham Asylum, is the Joker. And the Joker boss fight in Batman Arkham Asylum is often seen as one of the first in the game for several reasons. The first is the character inconsistency. Throughout the game, the Joker is portrayed as a cunning and unpredictable mastermind, relying on his intellect and schemes rather than physical prowess. However, in the final boss fight, he transforms into a brute force opponent, which feels out of character. This sudden change diminishes the psychological and strategic elements that define the Joker. And the second reason is lack of challenge and depth. The fight itself is relatively straightforward and lacks the complexity seen in other boss battles in the game. It primarily involves standard combat mechanics, such as avoiding attacks and countering enemies, rather than requiring unique strategies or tactics that utilize Batman's full range of abilities. The third reason is the repetition and simplicity. The encounter is repetitive, with Joker periodically summoning waves of minions for Batman to defeat before he becomes vulnerable again. This wave-based mechanic feels monotonous and does not offer the same level of engagement or variety as other boss fights, like those against Bane or Poison Ivy. The fourth reason why Joker boss fight is the worst one is the visual and mechanical disparity. The Joker transformation into the Titan Joker results in visually unappealing and somewhat absurd design. This stark departure from his usual appearance can be jarring for players, and the fight mechanics do not make good use of the game's stealth or detective elements, which are the hallmarks of the series. The fifth reason is anticlimactic conclusion. Given the build-up to the final confrontation with Joker, many players found the boss fight to be anticlimactic. It lacks the narrative and emotional payoff expected from the climax of the game, making it feel underwhelming compared to previous encounters and the overall story. So that was the Joker, and those were the reasons why he's one of the worst. He's like the worst boss in the game. So overall, the Joker boss fight in Arkham Asylum is often seen as missed opportunity that fails to capitalize on characters' strengths and game innovative mechanics, resulting in finale that feels out of place and unsatisfying. And in number 4 position, we have the Bane. The Bane boss fight in Arkham Asylum is often criticized and considered one of the worst boss fights in the game for several reasons. He's a bit better than Joker, but let's go over those reasons right now. The first reason is repetitive mechanics. The fight against Bane heavily relies on a repetitive pattern that involves evading his charges, stunning him with batarang, and then performing a series of attacks while he is vulnerable. This cycle repeats multiple times, leading to a sense of monotony and predictability, which can diminish the excitement of the encounter. The second reason is the lack of challenge. For many players, the Bane fight does not offer a significant challenge compared to other boss fights in the game. Once the player understands the pattern, it becomes relatively easy to avoid Bane's attacks and execute the required countermeasures. This lack of difficulty can make the fight feel underwhelming. And the third reason is limited engagement. The fight does not fully utilize the environment or Batman's full range of abilities. Unlike other encounters in the game that may encourage creative use of gadgets or stealth tactics, the Bane fight is very straightforward and restricts players to a limited set of actions. And third reason, or fourth anyways, is Bane's underwhelming portrayal. As a major villain in Batman universe, Bane is known for his intelligence and strategic mind, as well as his physical strength. However, the boss fight reduces him to brute who simply charges at Batman, lacking the cunning and complexity that fans might expect from this character. This portrayal can be disappointing for players familiar with Bane's potential depth. And another reason is predictable AI behavior. Bane's behavior in fight is highly predictable, with a clear and unchanging pattern. This predictability can make the fight feel less dynamic and immersive. And as players quickly learn exactly what to expect and how to counter it without needing to adapt to new challenges. And another reason is missed opportunities for variety. The game could have included more phases or varied mechanics in the Bane fight to keep it engaging. Instead, the fight remains the same throughout its duration, missing the opportunity to introduce new elements or surprises that could keep players on their toes. So, in summary, the Bane boss fight in Arkham Asylum is one of the first boss fights in the game because of its repetitive mechanics, lack of challenge and engagement, underwhelming portrayal of Bane, predictable AI behavior, missed opportunities for variety. These factors combine to create encounter that feels less exciting and memorable compared to other boss fights in the game. And in number 3 position we have the Poison Ivy. The Poison Ivy boss fight in Batman Arkham Asylum is considered pretty disappointing by many players for several reasons. And let's go over those reasons now. The first reason is repetitive mechanics. The fight involves repetitive patterns that lack the complexity and variation found in other boss fights in the game. Players have to dodge predictable attacks waiting for an opening, and then use patterns to expose Poison Ivy's vulnerable state. This cycle repeats multiple times with little change, making the battle feel monotonous. The second reason is lack of strategic depth. Unlike some other boss fights in the game that require a combination of gadgets, combat skills and environmental awareness, the Poison Ivy encounter largely boils down to simple evasion and timing. This can make the fight feel less intellectual, engaging and more like chore. The third reason is environmental design. The arena for the boss fight is a large, circular area with little to no interactive elements. The planned setting doesn't offer much in terms of tactical options or interesting visuals, which can detract from the overall experience. And the fourth reason why this boss is pretty underwhelming is underwhelming presentation. Despite Poison Ivy's character being visually striking and having the potential for dramatic environmental changes, the fight itself doesn't leverage those elements effectively. The visual effects and animations during the battle are seen as underwhelming, failing to capitalize on Poison Ivy's botanical powers in a compelling way. And the fifth reason is anticlimactic conclusion. The players often feel that conclusion of the fight where Batman simply punches Ivy after enduring repetitive attack cycles lacks the dramatic flair or narrative weight expected from a major villain encounter. The ending feels abrupt and unsatisfying, not providing a proper sense of accomplishment or closure. And the final reason why Poison Ivy boss fight kinda sucks is the comparison to other boss fights. Arkham Asylum features several memorable boss fights such as Scarecrow and Killer Croc, and these encounters are pretty much better than Poison Ivy's encounter. So yeah. And in summary, the Poison Ivy boss fight in Batman Arkham Asylum is considered disappointing due to its repetitive mechanics, lack of strategic depth, unremarkable environmental design, underwhelming presentation, anticlimactic conclusion, and unfavorable comparison to other more engaging boss fights in the game. And now we are getting to the two best boss fights in the whole game. And let's go over those. In the number 2 position we have Scarecrow. The Scarecrow boss fight in Arkham Asylum is considered one of the best for several reasons. The first reason is innovative game design. The Scarecrow encounters break away from usual gameplay mechanics and structure, immersing players in nightmarish sequence that drastically alters the game's tone and pace. This innovation keeps the gameplay fresh and unexpected, making it stand out from other boss fights in the game. The second reason is psychological horror elements. Scarecrow Vertoxin induces hallucinations, dragging the hero into twisted, surreal versions of reality. This taps into psychological horror, presenting players with eerie, unsettling environments and scenarios. These sequences evoke a sense of dread and uneasiness, significantly heightening the emotional impact of the fights. The third reason is narrative integration. The Scarecrow segments are deeply woven into the game's story, reflecting Batman's inner fears and traumas. They provide insights into Batman's psyche, exploring his deepest fears, including his guilt over his parents' deaths, and his fear of failing Gotham. This narrative depth adds layers to Batman's character and enriches the overall storytelling. And the fourth reason is creative visuals. The visuals during Scarecrow's encounters are striking and surreal. The developers used a distinct, nightmarish art style that visually differentiates these sequences from the rest of the game. The shift in visual design creates disorienting experience, making the players feel like they are truly inside a nightmare. And the fifth reason why Scarecrow is second best boss fight in the whole game is gameplay variety. Scarecrow's levels often shift to side-scrolling perspective and incorporating platforming elements, forcing players to adapt to the new gameplay mechanics. This variety prevents monotony and keeps players engaged, offering a different type of challenge compared to the more straightforward combat and stealth segments. And one reason again is immersive atmosphere. The audio design, including the chilling voice acting, atmospheric sound effects, and eerie musical score all contribute to an immersive, fear-inducing atmosphere. This helps the players to be engaged in these fights. And another reason is memorable experience. The Scarecrow boss fights leave lasting impression to their unique approach and the emotional impact they have on players. The blend of horror, innovative design, and narrative significance makes these encounters memorable highlights of the game. And the final reason is breaking the fourth wall. At one point, the game tricks players into thinking it's experiencing a glitch or crashing, creating a meta experience that adds to the sense of disorientation and fear. This clever use of breaking the fourth wall enhances the psychological horror aspect and makes the encounter even more memorable. In summary, the Scarecrow boss fights in Arkham Asylum are lauded for their innovative design, psychological depth, atmospheric immersion, and memorable impact, setting these fights apart from one of the best fights in the whole game. So yeah, Scarecrow is in number 2 position with his boss fights. And let's go to the number 1. And in the number 1 position we have Killer Croc. And the Killer Croc boss fight is the best boss fight in the whole game. By far Killer Croc boss fight is the best in the game. And let's go over those reasons why. The first reason is atmosphere and setting. The fight takes place in dark, dank sewers beneath the asylum, adding a sense of tension and claustrophobia. The environment immerses players in dark, gritty world of Gotham City. Build up an anticipation. Throughout the game, players encounter hints and signs of Killer Croc presence in the sewers. This creates anticipation and builds up the tension leading to the actual encounter. The third reason is unique gameplay mechanics. The fight against Killer Croc introduces a unique gameplay mechanics where players must navigate through treacherous environment while avoiding detection by massive crocodile lurking in the waters. This adds a thrilling element of stealth and survival to the encounter. The fourth reason is pacing and intensity. The pacing of the boss fight is well executed, with moments of intense acting interspersed with periods of suspenseful stealth gameplay. This balance keeps players engaged and on the edge of their seats throughout the encounter. And the fifth reason is narrative significance. Defeating Killer Croc is a pivotal moment in the game's story, as it represents Batman overcoming one of his most formidable foes and advancing towards his ultimate goal of restoring order to the asylum. And the final reason is the challenge and reward. The boss fight represents a significant challenge to the players, requiring careful planning, quick reflexes, and strategic thinking to outmaneuver Killer Croc and emerge victorious. Overcoming this challenge provides a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction to the players. Overall, the Killer Croc is the best boss fight in Arkham Asylum. Okay, so that was my rating of all Batman Arkham Asylum bosses from worst to best. What did you think about this list? Also, remember to post your own list down below if you have your own opinions. Okay? So, yeah, anyways, video is pretty much done, and thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe if you want to, and put a like on this video. Also, before we stop, I will make same type of first to best video from Arkham City and Arkham Origins and Arkham City. So stay tuned for those videos, and yeah, see you in the next one. Bye bye.